Nowadays, there are so many different investment platforms to choose from, so many competitive brokers with different fees, free shares you can get for signing up. Little plug there, check the link in the description. You can get a free share for Trading 212 and FreeTrade. Collectively, could be worth up to £300, so definitely check that out in the description below. And sorry for the plug, continuing, if you have loads of different investment platforms, it can be so easy to lose track of where your money is, how much each investment is making you, and ultimately how much profit or loss you've got. That's what it all comes down to. And having loads of different accounts where you want to find the best one, where you might put all your money in to one account or separate accounts, you need to know how much money you have and how much it's making you. So this is why I created this investment tracker or net worth tracker spreadsheet. So just a quick rundown of what it is actually showing you is it starts off with quite clear the total portfolio value, the total gain in pounds and also percentage, and also the amount deposited, how much money of my own I've actually put into cash. It then goes on to show this graph here where it shows the dotted lines are my projected, the blue being the amount deposited and the orange being the actual value. And then the solid blue and orange lines are the same, but they're the actual values, how much I've actually earned. So you can see by contrast that I'm on target, I'm well ahead of my value, namely from November where the vaccine was announced, all the stock market shot up. Secondly, going back to where I was talking about the different accounts, here it has a breakdown of all the different investment and brokerage accounts I have. So I have a Hargreaves Lansdown ISA, I have a lifetime ISA, I have money on Trading 212, I hold cash, I have cryptocurrencies, I had premium bonds, I invest in unlisted private companies through Crowdcube, and I also get free shares on FreeTrade. Finally, I also use this network tracker, investment tracker, to kind of highlight some goals I have and predict them. So currently my first big milestone I want to reach is 100k. So it says forecasted 2028, and that's being really, really prudent. So that's me. This is accounting for taking money out, withdraw money from my lifetime ISA to buy a house, put a deposit down, and it doesn't include the equity I'd own in a house for that goal of 100k net worth. So it's a really prudent, but it's a cool little thing where I can see the target, see the goal in sight, and move forward to go earn that. So all this is built up by an array of data where I've set it up so I can automatically build and put it all into one system for me. So the overview is here. So this looks quite overwhelming at first. So just to go through how I broke it down, I have a baseline, which I was saying is my forecast, what I want to achieve. And it goes down by monthly deposits, and then it has a cumulative deposit, how much I've deposited in total, and then it goes into the actual total value. Again, I compared it against my actual. So for example, in June 2020, I baselined to deposit £1,000, but I actually deposited £1,600. I actually remember this month because I think that was the month I got a tax rebate, so I had a lot more money, and so deposited more than I predicted. And then it goes on to show how much I'm ahead of my baseline, my forecasts. So back in June I was about £500 ahead. Currently in January 2021 I am £5,500 ahead. It goes on to show my total profit or loss. Again, for the year ending 2020 I got 21.94% profit, £4,000 in 1 year. And then again, so that kind of shows you how much money I've got each month, and it's more of a historical look back, this kind of element of the investment tracker, just so you can kind of see where things happen, how much is going on. And then this is obviously the forecast, the future, looking ahead, and then you can work out how much you're going to have at, X point in time. So a good rule of thumb, obviously I've used this tracker to assume my market goes up, or my investments go up 7% per year. So again, it's quite prudent. It's quite a lowball figure. I think the average is 10%. And then with inflation it's 7%. But I've done like real value, just 7%, just so I can be prudent and beat my targets. You can see this year made 22%. And using the baseline figures, the reason why I have this in here as well, so you can see I'm £5,500 ahead. That's including the extra growth, but then you can also compare it to the actual deposits. So my predicted total deposit was 17,350, but I've actually deposited 20,420. So I'm £3,000 ahead in my deposits alone. So even if the market does drop and it goes out to average £7,000, I can estimate that I'll be ahead of in the future by at least £3,000. So again, so looking here, December 2022, I predict I'll have £52,441 if the market continues to return 7%. So if it does drop and the average, my 22% drops down to an average of 7%, I know that I'll be £3,000 ahead of my target there. So it's really interesting to see how it all comes together. So these are all the totals. Building on that with my different platforms and different investment accounts I use, this is the overview here. It shows you which percentage allocation I have on each. Again, I have my Hargreaves Lansdown, trading 212, FreeTrade, cryptocurrencies, etc. And all this, the totals here is what feeds into these here. You can see I have two sections here, input manually. So I put the total principal, the amount deposited, and then the value, and that gets updated at the end of every month, the 30th or the 31st, when the market's closed. So where all this data comes from here is in each of these separate tabs, I have a simple, just the amount I've invested in a total overview of how much I've invested in each given month, and then I go through and put the value in, as I said, every month. And this is the same for every investment account I have. Again, plug in the free shares. These are all the free shares I've got on Trading 212. So if you haven't already, sign up to Trading 212 and FreeTrade with the link in the description, so you both get a free share. So these are all the different accounts I have, and once I put the data in here, so I put how much money I've got and then the value of it, so I can see the profit and loss. This gets automatically fed into this sheet here, where it automatically updates the totals, and all I have to do is input manually into here, and then when I input the data into this here, it updates the graph and the overall values here. So all the data feeds into one thing. It's really simple. You just go check the amount, what's on the account, and put it into here. That feeds into this overview and totals here, which I input manually here, which goes into the dashboard, so I can see a big overview and see where my money is, how much it's worth, and kind of if I'm on track to meet my goals. So again, like I was saying, there's a few benefits for this. The biggest being showing the total profit and loss. If I'll pull up a screen of Trading 212, it shows your current profit and loss. So this doesn't include any dividends paid, it doesn't include any sales, and this is the same for pretty much all investment apps, including Hargreaves Lansdown. When you sell a fund, it doesn't show any kind of transactional history of where the profit was made. It only shows the current value of your current holdings. So having this on Excel allows me to keep track of my total profit and loss. Not only that, it has, like I said, it has the multiple accounts, so you can see an overview of everything, and it can also be used for total net worth tracker. So you can use this. You can easily add another tab. You can include all your different pensions you may have with different workplaces. You can include any real estate investments you have. And the main reason I like it is because I can set goals for myself. So a key thing here, you can see before the vaccine was announced, my portfolio was sitting at 18,769. I had forecasted I could deposit £500 each month, but I was really quite keen on getting to 20,000 before the new year. So I was saying to myself, all I need to do is put an extra £150 in each month, and then I'll meet my goal of 20,000. Luckily, the vaccine came out, and then that month, you can see I made £2,300 just in growth value alone, so I didn't really need to deposit the extra money. But if that hadn't have happened, I would have still met my goal, just because I could see the total value of it, and it gave me that bit of motivation and inspiration to push that bit harder so I can reach my goal. So this kind of sums up what my investment dashboard and investment tracker on Excel looks like and how I use it. So the next part of this video, I want to go through and show you how to actually make one for yourself. So for this, I'll be starting from scratch, and I'll be showing you a basic rundown of all the calculations, formulas, everything you can use to make your own and make it applicable to yourself. Okay, so for the second part, like I said, I'll be showing you how to make one from scratch. So you start off with a blank Excel worksheet. The best advice I can give you is to have a design in mind. I'll take a picture of kind of what I just drew up on a piece of paper just to show you what I'll be working with. And after that, it's quite simple. So the main thing with this is doing it a bit differently to how you normally use Excel. So you start off by using a lot of text box. So this is pretty simple. I like to keep the cells in just at the beginning so you can create, you can see. So we want to call it investment tracker. And then you can sort out all the fonts and everything you want later on. And investment. There you go. Okay, and then so now I want to go on and have more text boxes to show me my. Again, if you want to watch this on 1.5 speed or something, because it will be slow, so I will be doing this live, just to go through how I do what I do. So a key thing here as well, when you have if you do what I done, have 3 boxes, you want to have them all separately and make sure they all line up, which is why I'm keeping the cells, but you want to have them the same size to make it look a bit nicer. So I suggest copying the 3, making one box and then copying it so all the sizes are the same. And then each of these boxes I'm going to use to show my total value of my portfolio, the amount deposited, and then also the profit and loss. So at the moment I'm just building a skeleton, a outline of what I'm actually showing, and then I'll show you how to put all the data in it as well. So again here I'm just copying these boxes and then making them to put where I want to put them. So now the second box here, as you can see by my drawn design, or could have seen, is this will be where I include my graph. So I want to have this graph to show my my baseline, the amount I forecast I will have at X time and X years, versus the amount I actually have deposited and the amount I actually have. And in this second box here, I will be using as a allocation tracker. So I'll put all my different investment platforms into one sheet where I can see what's what and everything. Okay, so now I'm going to be making the titles for each of these. So here I have my forecast versus actuals. Okay, copy that title and put this here, and then this is platform allocation. Okay, and again, to make these look a bit nicer, I'm going to edit shape, format shape, and then I'm going to remove the outline of said box, so no line. And I want to do the same for this one here as well. So again, go back to format shape, go to no line, and close that down. So now we've got both of these, forecast versus actuals and performance allocation. Another thing I want to do to make this look a bit nicer is if you type in icons. So this just adds stuff to make it look that little bit nicer. So if I want a graph for the first one, let's just use this one. So I want to insert this copy. I want to have it up there next to my forecast versus actuals heading. And again, you might want to make the titles bold and increase the size and form. Forecast versus actuals, and then performance allocation, I want a pie chart or bar graph. Let's do that while we're on here. So there you go. So now I've got a bar graph here. Put that in there. Update the heading so it's the same size as the other one, and I can make it bold as well. Okay, so these are the only two I'm going to have in this rundown and basic sheet, and I'm going to call this the dashboard, the home screen. Okay, and for the next part, you want to have a overview sheet. Okay, so now moving on to the overview section, I've quickly input the years. So we're doing this investment tracker on a yearly basis. We've got 2020 all the way through 2030. It's the same principle if you're doing it on a monthly or yearly basis. I'm just doing it on a yearly basis just so you can see the power of compounding and investments in the long term. So I start off as saying we're going to be depositing £10,000 per year. Again, it's dependent on you. If you're going to be depositing £2,000 or £3,000 or £100 a year, whatever it works for you. If you're going to be getting a bonus every other year or every other month, again, include that if you think it's appropriate and you're going to be depositing that amount. So we've got the deposits per year, and then we've also got the total deposits, cumulative values adding up year after year. And now we've got a total value. So we start off year one assuming a 10% interest rate or investment growth, and we'll be doing that on an average basis throughout the whole term of this 10-year period. So first off, you start with your total deposit and you times it by the 10% or 1.1. And now moving on to year two, we have the same. So we have total value from the previous year times our interest rate, which is 1.1, plus the 2021 deposit, so plus that cell. And then we got the 11,000 plus the new £10,000 deposit plus the £100 interest from the year before. And now, since we got that formula in, you just click the cell and drag it down, and it does it automatically for every year. So after the 10-year period, you should have a total value of £187,000. Okay, so now this is just a forecast because obviously we haven't lived through this yet. So now we want to do the same thing. We want to include another cell for the actuals. How much we actually deposit, how much we got in total deposits, and also the actual value, how much the actual growth we actually get from our investments. Okay, so say again we got the same years. If we want to deposit, so we got 2020 in 2020, we do better than we thought. We actually deposit £12,000, but the next year we can only deposit £9,000. And then we know we're getting raises. So now we've got a new job, so we're on 15,000. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it at that because we're in the year 2023. We don't know about 2024 or 2030 yet. Okay, so these are the deposits. So we've got equals this, and then we've got the total deposit from the previous year plus this cell here. And again, now that we've got the formula in, we just click and drag, and so it shows you what you've actually got. Okay, and now our total value through 2020 equals our total deposit times what rate we got. So this year in my investment portfolio I got 22%, so we're going to say that, so times 1.22, and that's our total value. Again, we got a total value next year is not as good. We get 1.06, which is 6% increase plus our deposit for that year. And now we're going to assume we get 6% for the next few years as well. Okay, and also I'm also going to change all this into pounds. So to do that, all you do is highlight, go into the currencies and click pounds. We also want to separate off the forecast versus the actual, so we're going to put a solid line and the thick borders out here so we know what's what. Okay, so again, the reason why these are left blank is because we don't know, we haven't actually experienced them yet, we haven't got that data. So again, now this is an overview, this is everything. The main reason to use this investment tracker is for different platforms. So we're going to assume we've got 3 different investment accounts. So we have a stocks account with Trading 212, or FreeTrade. Again, use the link in the description to sign up for a free share. So we've got stocks, we have a crypto account, and we hold some cash. So this is the same kind of thing. We want to have 2020, 2021, and we want to have it for all the years we're expecting to hold this investment tracker. So we got 2020 through to 2030, so we got the year. Okay, just add that in there. And then we got the total deposits, and we got the total value. And this is going to be the same for every investment platform you have or want to include in your tracker. So we're going to copy this into all the other sheets. Okay, so we got it in cash and we got it in stocks. Okay, so in our stocks, we're assuming we're going to deposit in. So we had, again, so these in accounts, you only include the actuals on these, because there's no need in putting the actual forecast in because you've got the total deposits. So in 2020, we deposited £12,000. So how do we split that up? Okay, so we had, say £9,000 in stocks, and then we had £1,000 in cryptocurrencies, and then we had the remainder, which was £2,000 in our cash account. Okay, now we need to work out the total value. Say our cash earned us £10 and our crypto earned us £500, £1,500, £1,500. So the total value, so earned us £500, that's the increase. And then our stocks earned us, I don't know, say £2,000. So that's 9,000 plus 2,000, £11,000. Okay, so that's our yearly goal for 2021. And now we want to include our overview of all the different tabs. So we have our stocks account, we have our crypto account, and we have our cash account. Now this is the allocation I mentioned before about I have it on Hargreaves Lansdown, trading 212 FreeTrade. It's the same process. I just want to but I think this encompasses what most people will have. And we could also include our bonds and stuff in there as well. So we want the deposit on each account, and then we also want the value on each account. Okay, so for this we click on stocks, we equal deposit. We go across here, we click equals the deposit value. Okay, and then we got the value, we got equals, we go down to the stocks tab, and then we equal what the value is. Okay, and that's the same with the crypto. There you go, and it's the same with the value there as well. Okay, so we got the cash, blah blah blah, £2,000 deposited, then its value equals £2,010. Okay, so now this is our current value. So you noticed on my actual one I actually used, I had bits where I had to input it manually, and that would be the totals. Okay, so we got totals, if I make that bold there, so that equals the sum. So you do SUM brackets and highlight all of these, close that off, and that equals your total deposit value, which is £12,000. And then you've also got the same here, so that equals the sum, and then how much did you actually make this year? Okay, and we actually made £1,450. So what I've done with the actuals here, that is actually what was meant to be for the deposits. So these are input manually, so you input the total deposits, and these are just notes I include myself so I don't forget. Okay, so if we delete these, so at the moment we've only got data for 2020, so we deposited £12,000, that's correct, and then we've actually got £14,510. Okay, and now we go into the next segment, which is profit and loss, profit/loss. Okay, so now we want to have a pound value, and we also want to have a percentage value of our profit and loss. So the profit in pounds is pretty simple. It's obviously your total value minus your total deposits. Now for percentage change, it's a bit different. It equals the change in value, which is your profit or loss, divided by the original, which is the total deposit, and then you change the unit into percentage. So we made a 21% there. Okay, and you do this the same for each year. So now moving on, when I update it in 2021, I've deposited an additional £9,000. So now I've got £18,000 in value, and it's worth £21,000. Okay, with the crypto it's the same. So if we deposited another £1,000, but this year it didn't do as well, it made only £100, and that's worth £1,600. And again with the cash, so £2,000, we didn't invest any more in cash, and that's another £10. Okay, so now you go into the overview sheet, and again this is the only other bit you have to do manually. So each sheet you have to go down and then you change the letter here, so depending on, I think it's just one down for each value, and that updates the totals automatically. So that's C6, and again all I'm doing is, because it's directly below the previous thing, you just delete whatever the sell value is. So C6 is now C7 and C5 is now C6 in the cash sheet. Okay, Done it wrong for cash. Okay, so the total deposit in cash was in B6, so that's why I went wrong there. So there you go. So that is B6, apologies, but I'm wrong. And again now, for the 2021, we deposited a total amount of £21,000. So again, this is all going into the input manually where the totals are. 24620 is our profit. And we copy this cell down, and it does this year's profit automatically. So this is the total profit, and that's how much we have now made. And now this works out the deposit, how much you've done in the year, which is simply your current value take away the previous cell, and that's how much you'll be depositing this year. So you can see we're under target here, but over here, and then it shows you your profit and loss, so you can work out how much you've actually made. A nice little thing you can do as well is you can do a conditional formatting. So if you made a loss, you can turn it red, and if it's green, you can make it show that you made a profit. So now to do this, you click on conditional formatting, and then you can click on new rule or highlight cell rules, and you can do greater than. So if it is greater than 0, we want it to be green filled with dark green text. Okay, so there you go, it's green, and we want that for the whole thing. Then if we also want conditional format and highlight cell rules, if it's less than 0, we want it to go red. Okay, so now I'm going to go through this. So now for 2022, we actually make a loss. So we have invested, we invested another £22,000, but our value doesn't go up, it actually goes down, so it's only 21,500. It goes up slightly, but we've deposited more, so we've lost a bit. Okay, and now for the crypto and cash, we're going to say it stayed the same, just for the ease of the demonstration. So £1,600, and then cash is the exact same again, just so you can see how I update it as well. Okay, so we go back to the overview. Again, we just change the cells here, just one lower than what they previously were. Okay, so that's simple enough. Again, stocks C7, C8. So just one above where they previously were. Okay, so now we copy all these down, all the formulas again, and then we just input the new data. So we had deposited 25,000, and then we have also the value is 25120. Okay, that's because I changed it wrong. So let's say we made a loss on crypto, £1,200. There you go. And then we just change the value again, and you can see here, so we made a loss. We made a 1% loss of £280. So that's the overview, and shows you all the different data of what you've done in that year. And so that's a really interesting technique. And now you want to go into make the actual dashboard a bit better. So this is where all the hard data comes from. Okay, so now moving back onto the final dashboard element where the actual visuals come into play. This is where you convert all the data kind of here. Obviously, this might be a bit more extensive depending on what yours is, like my main one is, but for the sake of the video and how to create it, it's all the same kind of fundamentals. You want to get your data and put it into charts and graphs. So starting off with the platform allocation, you want to highlight your platform to deposit the value, and then all the different platforms and the values in it. And here you want to also convert that to currencies, and then let's make it a bar chart. So you just highlight the data and you put it into a bar chart. Again, we've got the title on the other sheet, and then let's copy this over so we can cut that, and we want to move it over to here into the platform allocation. Okay, and then we're going to drag it up and make it look nice. Okay, so what we want to do to make it look a bit nicer is if we go back into the select data, we want edit. Okay, so change our type, scan document, import image. Okay, let's start by deleting them background lines, and then we want to chart design. And this is where we can change the colours and everything, and depend on how you want to look at it. So as you saw my other one, I preferred the kind of darker colours, but as we've got like a white background at the moment, it'll be nicer in the white. I want to delete the background lines, and then we got that's part of the data there. And then we had the total value of the actual portfolio. So again, we got total value, and again, if you want to include more icons and stuff, you can do that quite easily, just to make it look a bit nicer. Okay, so now that you've got the graph set up, what you want to do is get the values in here. So we've got, so far we have total value. We want to include, okay, let's just copy this out and get all the other set up first as well. So we've got total value, and we also want total deposit. Again, these are just quick flash things you can see. So when you open your document, you can quite quickly and easily see what kind of setup you've got and what the visuals are like, so you know how much you've got in your investment portfolio. So you've got the total value, total deposit, and then you want profit and loss. So then you just put profit / loss. Okay, again, and we want to make it look nice. We want to try to get it into the center of the screen. Okay, so now we actually need another text box. So if we copy these again, so if we just copy the one with no borders, copy that, and now what we want to do is delete the text in it, go up to the search bar, we click equals, and then we want to go over to the cell that we wanted the data for. So in this case, we got the total value, which is here, so we click enter, and there we've got it. Again, you want to change it so it's in pound values. So if we do that here, put that into the currency you want, or of course, obviously if you're dollars or whatever you want to put into that. So there you go, we got that value. We want our total deposits. Again, we go up here, we click equals, we go over to find where the cell is, and we put our total deposits. And then finally, we need the profit and loss. So we want another text box. Let's see. Go back there. Equals. Well, not in the actual text box, but we do it in the search bar. So it actually works. So you go equals, go onto the overview page, and then we want our total profit and loss, which is at the moment is 200 and minus £280. Okay, and again, you can make that all look nice, so you can put the colours in like I have in my other one. And then the final thing you want to do is the forecast versus actuals data. So now this can be a bit confusing because you've got quite a few different data sets. Okay, so to get the final graph, you need to select the certain data. So we've got the current year we want. Now we need the total deposit, we need the total value, and we need the same with our actuals as well. We need a total value and deposit, and we don't need this square here, I don't know, selected. And now we're going to put the line chart in. I like to use the marked one. So now we've got this here. I don't know why it's showing the years like that. So you've got years 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's fine. We can sort that out another time. Okay, so now we've got years 1, 2 through to the 10th year. And we've got the different line colours. So now what we want to do is actually make them more appropriate. So we want them to be easier to see. So on my one, you sort of had my forecasts as dotted lines, and I had them as the blue colour, I believe. So what we're going to do is we want to click on the total deposits, total value. We want the forecasted ones which go all the way up. So we want to format data series. And we're going to change the line here. So we want to change the lines. We want to be a solid line, gradient line. And then you've got the dash type here. So we want to change it so it's like that, and we also want to change the colour. So to change the colour, we're going to make it the blue colour, and then we're also going to have, this is the total value that we're predicting. Again, we're going to make that a dotted line, and we want that to be orange. And now the same goes for the lines down here. We want this blue line here, so you can see it's the total value, so that means it's the orange colour. And we're happy with that being a solid because we want it to be differentiated from the forecasts. And now from the final one, which is the total deposits, we want the deposits to be the blue colour. And again, we want it to solid line. We've already got a chart title, so we can delete that. You might find it beneficial to keep the lines on this one. I think it looks nice without them, but that's completely up to you and your personal preference. So again, we'll go back to the dashboard, and then we want to copy and paste the data into this spreadsheet here. And we're going to move it so it fits nicely in here. And again, this is why I delete the lines, just so it looks that bit nicer. Where the data is quite put together, that's why it looks a bit odd at the moment. But as soon as you get going and you get the differentials up here, it will quickly become, and you can see it quite visually. Okay, so another thing you want to do to make it look really quite nice is if you go into page layout and you want to delete the cell lines, so hide cell lines. So I believe that is in view. So grid lines, no, we don't want grid lines, we can delete that. We want to go on and choose a background. So they used to be able to do it straight from Google. But again, you can download whatever kind of picture you want and put it in there. So there you go, that comes up with the kind of semi-automated net worth / investment tracker. So the only kind of inputs you have to do is if you go onto the overview sheet, you put in the actual values in your whatever platform you have invested, you update it with your monthly deposit or yearly deposit in our examples case, and you just update the total value. And then all you need to do is in the overview is change the cell number where it reflects what number it is, and then you just put the input manually here, and then it changes all your data, your profit and loss. It updates automatically in the dashboard, all into the forecast and actuals, and your platform allocation will allocate it updated. You can also include more. You can have a breakdown of I don't know, like your investments geography, stuff like that. But that's all a bit more in depth. And this is just the basic, easy to do investment tracker. Again, you can obviously make it look a bit nicer than I have in this current one. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and thanks for watching.